This conference will now be recorded.
Thank you for joining us today on our OCC webinar series. My name is Philip Hoyle. I'm the Business Development Director for Industrial Mining and Oil and Gas. And today we'll be going over harsh environment solutions, including connectors and plug-and-play solutions. So let's talk about the agenda real quick. So we'll introduce OCC, tell you about us, a little bit of our history. We'll talk about some performance parameters and characteristics of our harsh environment connectors. We'll dive into our OCC connector family as well as cable options. And then we'll go over some harsh environment plug and play benefits and applications. Then we'll talk about some ancillary products, some resources that you can access, and then questions if we have time. So let's talk a little bit about OCC. OCC has been around for 37 years. We're a pioneer in development of tight buffer cable for the DoD. Back about 37 years ago, or even before that, DoD was looking for cable that could be run over by a tank and deployed over and over again for military applications. OCC developed tight buffer for the DoD, and that's how we really got started. We hold many patents on fiber and copper products. We have over 360 employees and can proudly say made in the USA. OCC has 3 locations, Roanoke, Virginia, which is our headquarters, and where all the cables are designed and manufactured. We have Asheville, North Carolina, where our copper and connectivity hardware is designed and manufactured. And we have Dallas, where all our pre-terminated assemblies are made for industrial, military, and other harsh environment applications. This really makes OCC a full end-to-end solution manufacturer, including copper, fiber, connectivity, cabinets, enclosures. All 3 of these locations are ISO 9001 certified, and OCC products are used internationally in over 99, 100 countries, including places like Australia, South America, Canada, and Europe. The main industries we serve are commercial, military, broadcast, industrial, mining, and oil and gas. And I'll talk a little bit about these on the next page. So let's go over there. As I mentioned in the previous slide, we cut our teeth in the military market by developing a tight buffer deployable cable that has been battle tested for years, for decades really. We're the only one in the industry that has a QPL tactical cable. These leading innovations led OCC into other markets, including broadcast, where you'll see a lot of the cameras fiber optic cable assemblies to SMPTE cable and assemblies. You'll see a lot of our products in the NFL, Major League Baseball, PGA, college football, tennis, and a lot of other large sporting events. So as we move over to mining, we're one of the first ones to deploy cable into underground mines, in underground coal mines years ago, and one of the first cable manufacturers to be MSHA certified. We deploy cables and assemblies in the mines all over the country, including North America, Central America, South America, and Australia, to name a few. So oil and gas. We work a lot with the upstream drilling manufacturers and fracking companies to supply a lot of the harsh environment connector assemblies that we'll talk about today that are built out of our Dallas facility. We also do a lot of downstream market, which includes refineries and petrochemical facilities, which our fiber optic tray cables are great for these applications. So industrial are very strong in this market, which includes manufacturing, power generation, wastewater treatment, clean energy, such as wind and solar. Again, our fiber optic tray cable is great for these markets as well. So a lot of you might be hearing a lot about IIoT, or also industrial Internet of Things, which is interconnecting sensors, instruments, and other devices that gives us real-time data analysis that can help manage productivity and increase efficiencies, resulting in less downtime and increased profits. The fiber is the backbone of these applications, and we are seeing increasing use for this in industrial and harsh environment applications. for IoT connected devices. Commercial, we have a full offering of copper and fiber for structured cabling, such as office buildings, schools, data centers, colleges, high schools. OCC has a broad range of products for a number of applications and provides a full end of solutions for all these markets. So now let's talk a little bit, jump forward too much. Let's talk a little bit briefly about why we need fundamental capabilities of harsh environment connectors and why we need them. Most of these connectors are based on a military design that are meant to be exposed to environmental and mechanical stresses. Also, they need to be capable of human-induced stress, which would include pulling, twisting, throwing, anything a person can do to these cables. Secondly, they provide a transition from outdoor controlled environment to an indoor or an enclosure controlled environment. And I'll go a little bit into that on the next slide. And I've worked on numerous projects where this question comes in: how do I get from this outside element where it's raining, sleet, snow into a controlled environment into a structured cabling environment? And these connectors are a great reason for that. And third, it provides a real fast and convenient way to deploy multiple fibers, possibly copper in there as well, in one cable and connector without the need for terminating or splicing. So now let's talk about that bullet point 2 about transition points. Here's an illustration, the transition we were talking about on a previous slide, the need to transition from, on the left, an uncontrolled environment that could be rain, sleet, snow, wind, dust, whatever you can name, tornado, hurricane. The harsh environment connector is connected to the harsh environment receptacle right here, either typically a wall or a enclosure. The fiber is now transitioned over into the controlled environment, can be attached to a standard structure cabling by either discrete connectors, which you see here, or you could even fusion splice in. So that's kind of the reason for these connectors, and going from an uncontrolled environment into a controlled environment into a structured cabling premise. So now let's talk about harsh environment, the parameters that testing goes through to enable these connectors to work in the field. These harsh environment connectors were developed to be used in harsh environment, extreme environments where a standard commercial connector could not survive. Each connector has to go through a battery of mechanical environmental tests to be capable of being deployed in these type of environments. For example, like the North Slope of Alaska, which is very, very, very cold, snowy, windy, or the Australian desert where it's dry, very, very hot environments. So speaking of that, operating temperatures, most of our connectors have a range of negative 55C to 71C, plus 71C. They have to be capable of mating durability. So we have anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 cycles of mating durability on the termini. We have mechanical stress, flex, twist, tensile stress, pull, strength. Most connectors range anywhere from a cable tension strength of 300 to 400 pounds. You definitely let us know. Mud test is performed to the mill standards, as well as fluid immersion test. All but one of our connectors is IP68 rated. That means it can be submerged in water up to 1 meter depth. The other one is IP67 rated. So if you need to know more about the mechanical specs for a certain connector that we are going to go over later in our presentation, all these are located on our website, on our brochure, and has a detailed information about the test that is performed on each connector. Now let's talk about something important, which is connector material, and the three main types of connectors that we use. Now I just will let you know all our OCC connectors are made of a metallic material. The three you see on the left, aluminum, brass, or stainless steel. And we do not make a plastic or molded harsh environment connector. There's some in the market, we just don't do it. So anyway, just want to let you know that. Our most common material we use is aluminum. Some of the key features is that they are lower cost to machine and material, and they have a lighter weight. So this makes it good for deployable applications. What we do on the aluminum, we can't leave it bare because it's going to get exposed to the elements. So we apply a plating that protects the connector. There's a couple of most common platings that we use, which one is zinc nickel, which is on the top right here. It's usually typically the Army green and used a lot in the military applications. So you can see that one up the top right here. You can see a picture of the black anodized, which is a very common plating for our connectors, and it's used a lot in broadcast, industrial, mining, and oil and gas. And we also use electroless nickel, which is a conductive plating. So those are our three most common platings. We do have other material plating options available, but they are special order, cadmium, black nickel, black e-nickel, stuff like that. So we do have some other platings, but it will be special order. So the next material that is most common that we use is brass. And this is a very heavy material, but it's easy to machine. A lot of people use it because it's non-sparking. So they might use them a lot in mines or in a very caustic environment where it might be conducive for explosive environments, which we'll go over in a little bit. And we also use stainless steel. We have two options in stainless steel. It's 316 or 303, 316 being the better material. It can be hard to machine, but it is highly resistant to chemicals and salt spray. So we use these a lot in the mining and offshore oil and gas applications due to the high exposure to salt and chemicals. Now let's move on to some of our connector options. So we have listed here is our harsh environment connectors that are hermaphroditic. I'll go over what hermaphroditic connectors are designed for quick deployment and gender independent connectivity, allowing the end user to unreel the fiber cable without regard to male or female ends. This ensures you have the correct end every time. So basically it converts either to male or female, and that way each end you have the right end. So we have our COTS 83526, which is our military connector. It goes up to 12 channels. It's in 2 shell sizes. Again, we'll go over these in more detail in a second. We have our EasyMate, which is an enhanced, and it will go beyond the COTS, and will go up to 24 channels. We have the EasyMate EX, which is our explosive atmosphere connector. It's actually the receptacle side of the EasyMate, so it's an extension of the EasyMate. It's not hermaphroditic, but it goes into that family. We have MHCT2, which is our mini hermaphroditic, which goes up to 8 channels. And we have MHCT3, which is our 48 channels, high capacity connector. And we also have our PureSight connector, which goes up to 12 channels and is used a lot in the ship-to-shore applications. So let's go into more detail. So right here we have our COTS 83526, which often referred to as the TFOCA 2 connector in the industry. It is a hermaphroditic plug design. It is IP68 rated, and it was designed by the MIL spec, MIL 83526 16/17. So that's where that design came in from. It's been used a lot in the military applications and other industries. It uses the 2.5 termini from the MIL spec 29504, so it uses 2.5 termini. Again, it's also known as a TFOCA 2 available sizes in 2 shell sizes. It has a smaller one, which is a 4-channel, and the larger one, which accommodates 12 channels. It's fully interchangeable with other manufacturers of the what we'll call an 83526/16/17 design. So we'll mate up with our competitor's product. Like I said before, it's ideal. It was designed by the military, so it's primarily used in the military, but also used in oil and gas and mining as well as broadcast in some applications. So let's go over to the EasyMate connector, which is OCC's design here. It's an EasyMate it's enhanced in-face design. So the reason for this is it's easier to mate than the COTS 83526. Very similar in the components and everything like that, but we'll go over a few differences here. So it has easy alignment for blind mateable, so you actually can not look at it, connect it in the field without looking at it. So sometimes people are reaching up or use the 2.5 termini that was used on the COTS earlier. We also use a 2.0 termini, mil-spec termini, and the smaller shell will accommodate 6 fibers and the larger shell will accommodate 24 fibers. So that's really the biggest difference there, is the enhanced interface and the ability to go from do a 6-channel and a 24-channel. These are used a lot in oil and gas, mining, industrial, and broadcast applications. So next we have our extension of the EasyMate line. It's EasyMate EX connector is a multi-channel hazardous location connector, and really was designed to meet the demands of fiber connectivity in hazardous locations and explosive areas. We currently use the international certification because under the current NEC code, there's not a protection for fiber in this category. OCC is certified to the OPPR protection for optical radiation for zone 1 and 21. This is a place, zone 1 and 21 is a place in which an explosive atmosphere is likely to occur in normal operation. So basically the connector is attached to the enclosure using MPT threads, similar to what you see in like a HawkLand or CMP hazardous location LAN. We are certified to use on 2 enclosures, the increased safety enclosure, which you see in the picture, and the flame-proof enclosure, which is a much larger, much more robust enclosure. So we have 2 of those. It does, again, come in 2 shell sizes. When the smaller size, we can do 4 to 6 fiber, and the largest size, we can do 12 to 24. We use these in a walking rig application where the drill head had to be moved several times during a drill, and they were able to disconnect and reconnect within that hazardous zone. These are available in those 3 materials we talked about earlier, which are black anodized brass and stainless steel. Again, these are ideal for onshore and offshore drilling applications, as well as liquid natural gas facilities and petrochemical facilities. So let's talk about our MHC T3 solution. It's one I kind of really want to highlight here. What it stands for is a mini hermaphroditic connector. So you can imagine lighter, smaller, traditional than our standard EasyMate connectors. So this one is available in our higher fiber count, so the availability to go from a 12 to a 48 fiber. We do use the MTP ferrule technology, so each ferrule can either have 12 or 24 fibers. Here you have a pin and socket, and you can put these either have 12 or 24 or 12 or 24. So these are, like I said earlier, it's lighter and smaller than our traditional connectors. It uses our HC cable, which is our high capacity cable with PVC or polyurethane flame retardant cables. We do have an MSHA certification for that as well, for these cables. It's sealed IP68, so it can be submerged. Available in multi-mode and single mode APC. It's really great for a fiber backbone in hard to reach areas. And we have used this in a couple applications where we use this within our passive optical LAN solutions. So it's a great option there. And it's really ideal for mining, industrial, and broadcast. We use quite a bit of these in some of the mining industries where they needed to do a fiber backbone run for 48 fiber. But we'll get into that in a little bit. So that's our MHC T3 solution up to 48 fibers. Within that same shell size or that same design, we have an MHC T2 solution. This connector is designed for fiber and copper in the same connector, which gives you advantage of running one cable and connector for remote and power communications. So really anything past PoE solution limits, this is a great solution here. It's hermaphroditic design again, so it's available in 2 shell sizes. The smaller shell size is 4-channel and will do fiber only. And the 8-channel will do fiber and copper. That's a larger shell size. And the larger shell size is the same shell size as the MHC-T3. So they share the housing. It's a lightweight and small footprint, IP68 rated again, so it can be submerged. Uses anywhere from 16 to 20 gauge copper in these. Again, it's ideal if we'd use a lot in industrial applications for powering switches and communication, as well as industrial broadcast and military. All-around connector for fiber and copper. So some of the other connectors that we do have that are not hermaphroditic that I just want to mention real quick. We do have an LJAC, which is our dual LC in a harsh environment housing. It's IP68 rated. It comes in single mode, multi-mode, and single mode APC. So this is the other connector besides our MHC-T3 that does single mode APC. So if you have a pond solution or something that needs to run APC, this is a great solution. It's used a lot in cell towers and cameras. We do have the Iris connector, which is down here on the left. It's a breakaway connector and was designed to be used in the traffic pedestals. If you've seen a wreck by a traffic pedestal, you can see that they get a lot of damage by cars running over it. It's basically the connector breaks away at impact, saving the fiber and can be reconnected within 5 to 10 minutes. Really save time and up and running, get you back up and running very quickly. We have the F-Link, which is our multi-fiber connector that can go up to 33 channels of fiber or fiber and copper. It comes in 3 shell sizes and is a great solution for larger fiber copper solutions. This one is not hermaphroditic, but does a male and female pinout on each end. We do have the RJAC. This is our RJ45 category 6 harsh environment connector. It's IP68 transversely sealed with or without the dust cap engaged. This means your equipment is safe if you leave the dust cap off. Talked about connectors, let's talk a little bit about the cable options to consider. As I mentioned in the previous slide, OCC was the first to develop indoor-outdoor type buffer cable for the military. We have several cable options to consider when choosing a cable for your application. Let's talk about the cable's construction first. We have 3 options for cables. We have a distribution, breakout, and HC cable in a range of 2 to 48 fibers. I do want to note that these connectors are only for OCC, these fiber counts, sorry, are only for OCC connectors, and we do have higher fiber counts for structural cabling and trunk cabling assemblies. For example, HC will go up to 288 fiber, but we don't have a connector that will accommodate this amount of fiber. Not yet. I don't know if I would want to terminate that either. So anyway, we have fibers available in single mode, OM1, OM3, and OM4. These fibers can be mixed in one cable. For example, you can get 4 single mode into OM3 or 2 single mode and 4 OM4. So we can do the hybrid cables, but these are typically a special order cable and not in stock. And some minimum orders would apply for that. Anyway, if you need that, let us know. So we have a distribution series, which is on the top right up here. It's a 900 micron buffer and can accommodate up to comes in a standard 250 micron coating or 500 micron coating. The 500 micron coating is our Miltac cable design and made for more robust applications. It's a smaller diameter cable, but very robust and used a lot for long distances. We have the breakout style, which is basically a beefed up distribution cable. It's a 900 micron cable as above with an added yarn around the 900 micron cable and is jacketed up to 2 millimeter or 2.5 millimeter sub cable. Then the cable is helically stranded and has a core locked outer jacket. It's a larger diameter and better for short distances and rugged terrain. Then we have our HC series, which is this cable right here. This is a newer cable designed for OCC. It's made up with 250 micron buffers with an acrylic coating over the buffers and is in a 2 millimeter subunit with 12 fibers in each subunit. So it's a very lightweight cable and is good for extremely long distances and has many similar mechanical properties as a distribution cable. This is the cable we use for MHCT3 connector. So that's why it's in this series, and it's very rugged cable for that application. So some other things to consider is armoring that you might need for your application. This gives extra protection for the inner cable. We use a bronze braiding and is mainly used for cut resistance from objects or equipments. We see a lot of these used in land-based and offshore drilling rigs, as well as shipboard applications. So one other thing you might consider is FRP protection. It's used for non-burrowing rodents. We see these cables used a lot in the military applications, maybe when they're putting out in the desert, and you might have critters wanting to chew on the cable. It gives protection for that inner cable as a sacrifice for those animals chewing. So one last thing you should consider is your industry certifications. When picking a cable, your application may need to consider some type of certification, such as ABS for offshore, low smoke, zero halogen. We see a lot of these in Canada and Europe. You might have MSHA for mining applications, MIL-SPEC for military. We also have RISA or Plenum. Going back to the armoring, we also have interlocking armor and other kind of armoring as well. It's not as commonly used on harsh environment connectors, but it can be used. So let's move on to some jacket materials. So something also to consider is your jacket material for the application. We do offer several different jackets to fit various applications. So don't be fooled by other manufacturers that one jacket fits all applications. We hear that a lot. This will work for everything. It's just not true. Just like the connector material we talked about earlier, it's important to pick a cable jacket that is made for your application. I'll highlight a few of these cables for certain applications. If you look at the outer jacket section up here on your right, orange section, you'll see a C and a V jacket. These jackets are made with a polyurethane material and are used for our deployable cables for various applications, including military, oil and gas, and broadcast. A very rugged cable jacket that will withstand a lot of pounding. Now we have our K-Jack, which over here is an indoor-outdoor jacket. This was one of our Plenum jackets. It's rated and used a lot in wastewater treatment due to its high chemical resistance. We have a Z jacket right here, which is our low smoke, zero halogen. It's used a lot in offshore and shipboard applications. We can also do custom jacket colors if needed. So let OCC help pick the right jacket for your application. So let's talk a little bit about OCC plug and play harsh environment solutions. Okay, so OCC plug and play harsh environment solutions. Here we're putting everything together. We to make it simple for the customer to install and easy to use these systems. So here's some of the advantages of using a plug and play solution. OCC will work with you in advance to determine the correct components to use for your application. This includes cable, connector, distribution boxes, or enclosures, or adapter plates, jumpers, whatever you need for the job. All assemblies will be factory tested, so you can be assured that they will work out of the box, save labor and time from traditional structured cabling and splicing method. This really makes sense where you're in an area where a fiber technician may not be available. If you have fiber in areas that could be damaged when we advise keeping a spare on site. This will allow for less downtime when the from having just to pull the connector off, roll it up, and move on to the next site. Now let's look at a couple plug and play solutions. So up top is a commercial fiber optic plug and play solution. You have a factory terminated MTP cable assembly, which is plugged into a preloaded rack mount enclosure. It's ready to go out of the box. So that's kind of your typical standard, light industrial commercial plug and play solution you guys are pretty much familiar with. So on the bottom, we have a harsh environment plug and play solution. This is similar, but made up of receptacle connector assemblies and one or more plug-to-plug assemblies. In this example, there are 3 plug-to-plug assemblies at each end. And you must have a receptacle on each end, and these will be mounted into an enclosure or a piece of equipment housing on a wall, like part of that transition we talked about earlier. The receptacle is typically terminated to discrete connectors such as LCs, STs, or SCs, then hooked it to some type of switch or devices. Some customers may choose to splice into a structure cabling job. So each job is a little bit different. So that's why it's a customized solution, and we work ahead of time to determine the length of these assemblies and what you need on each end and where you're plugging into. The hermaphroditic design enables a transition path to maintain polarity even when multiple cables segments are daisy chained together. As you can see on the left, the Transit TX transmit is in the red, and it's at position S1 on the socket, which is right here. It's kind of hard to see. Sorry about that. And ends up at P1, the pin, at the end of the receptacle on the right side. So you maintain your polarity across whether you remove assembly, you add one, it stays the same across the whole board here, across the whole assembly. Another feature about this type of solution is ability to replace a section if it gets damaged, like I talked about earlier. We always suggest using having a spare assembly on hand for these occasions. So let's say the middle section gets damaged here. A piece of equipment hits it, it's damaged, you have to unplug it. Typically, you would have to do maybe a mid-span splice here with an enclosure. Could take a couple days to get a technician down to the job. You could be down for a couple days. With a replacement on site, a replacement plug and plug assembly on site, you'll be able to be up and running within hours. So you're gonna replace that bad section and you're running in hours versus days. So this reduces downtime and will keep a production running. Estimated downtime on a land-based oil rig is around $50,000 an hour. So you can imagine if you're only down for an hour or two, then you're down, you've lost production time. But if you're down for 2 days, that's a lot of production time down. So that's a great reason to choose these type of harsh environment plug and play solutions for these type of environments. So now let's talk about a couple of different applications that these can be used in. So let's talk about the military. You can see a lot of ground tactical applications here on your left. So you've got trucks, satellites, mission control, everything like that. You can tie into the antenna using possibly a COTS 83526 connector, then several different vehicles, and this is a system that is mobile and ready to move and be deployed. So on the broadcast here, we have a stadium application. We're tying into the stadium equipment from a data truck outside the stadium. This gives access to the audio video in the stadium, and you have probably seen this on trucks on TV with all the cables sticking out of the truck and saying, let's go back to the command center, go back to the truck. These are going in. There's also cables running within the stadium to the cameras and to different devices, including maybe an aerial device that's a camera that's over the stadium. So we do control a lot of have fiber on a lot of those applications as well. So that's a broadcast application, one of the broadcast applications. So we have mining. Here's an underground mine. And a lot of times we're connecting EasyMate systems to long wall machines as they reel out and tunnel down new mine shafts. In the last few years, we have been using a lot of MHCT3 24 and 48 fiber solutions in mines. We recently did a 48 fiber solution that had 6 sections of 4,500 feet cable assemblies hooked up for their fiber backbone. So that's 6 plug-to-plug assemblies at 4,500 feet. We saved them a lot of labor time, and now they have a modular plug-and-play system in their mine that can go down to different shafts. They have now standardized on the MHC-T3 solutions for the rest of the mines, and we have several other mines on board with the MHC-T3 solution. Oil and gas here on the right. You have a land-based oil rig. Fiber is mainly run down the powerhouse all the way up to the driller's cabin. So it's running over here to the powerhouse, to the driller's cabin, to these other mud pumps and stuff like that. They're typically using either a COTS A3526 or EasyMate system with a bronze braided cable. A lot of times these cables are laying or sitting next to a large power cable. We have been supplying a lot of these cables for over 10 years to this industry. So a lot of experience in that industry, as well as offshore rigs as well. So let's talk about a few ancillary products that will go with these plug and play solutions and something to consider when designing the system. We have our Mars reel, which is a modular advanced reel system. This was designed for military systems industries. It was the industry's first lightweight reel system. Before this, everything was metal and would get bent and everything like that. This is a polymer-based reel that is very rugged. It has a place to, if you can see here, it's hard to see, you can plug in your tripods, transit cases, a lot of different solutions for deploying this reel. This is a transit case it's sitting in. Military uses that a lot. We do have a fiber splice cassette that was recently released. This information is on our website. It's a really, really nice, slick splice cassette. And there's actually a webinar that you can find on our website if you need some more information about that. We do Neiman 3 and 4 enclosures, which are a good option for distribution points in a harsh environment application. We can do pre-terminated enclosures with harsh environment connectors coming out the bottom, the side. We can do splice trays in there. We can do adapter plates. We can do really anything you want in there. So we can customize that. So as you get it out of the box, it is a plug and play solution. We have a DIN rail enclosure. This comes in 2 sizes and can accommodate 1 or 2 adapter plates. You can see that here on the one on the left is 2 adapter plates. One on the right is 1 adapter plate. Used a lot in industrial applications where you need to bring a bulk fiber in, maybe a 12 or 24, and jump over to a switch or networking device. We can even configure these with a connector on there, an MHC T2 or T3 for a plug and play solution. We have wall mount fiber enclosures. These rack mount enclosures, and great options for end-to-end distribution points. Again, these are durable and scalable and can be configured with a variety of OCC adapter plates, fiber cassettes, modules, splice trays, whatever you need to put in there, we have it. So let's wrap this thing up here. OCC has proven to be a pioneer and leader through our development within the military, multiple patents, and continued innovations of new products. Our harsh environment connectors address a number of mechanical environment conditions, full variety of cable and connectors for all your harsh environment solutions. We have end-to-end solutions for easy deployment and setup. We'll work with you to design the solution. Harsh environment plug and play solutions reduce setup time and teardown time and are great for those hard to reach places. We have a full line, something I didn't mention earlier, but we do have a full line of experienced team members, including a full engineering team at all 3 locations. We have business development specialists like myself for all markets. We have outside and inside sales reps, regional sales managers. We're all here to help you with all your application needs. We hope you choose OCC for your harsh environment solutions and help you design a solution that fits your needs. So with that, we'll talk a little bit about some resources. So we have some resources available on our website, which include brochures for some of the applications that we talked about today: mining, military, oil and gas, our connector series. We do also have social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. So stay connected with OCC, and let's help you with your harsh environment solutions. Again, Philip Hoyle here. Thank you for taking time today to join our webinar series, and have a great day.